got my notes.
You got notes.
I you know.
At least one of us is prepared, you know.
Dude, Mike, I know that you could talk, so like it ain't a problem. It ain't a thing, you know.
I just hit the Facebook Live button.
What's up, people?
Hey.
And your audio is rolling.
Oh, good. Yeah. So, you're gonna do the theme song in post or what?
Oh, you know what? I could do it here. Let me.
Yeah, do it. Do it live debut
so
for
you
like
got
the one
headphones on.
listener.
Hang on,
Do it live.
Oh wait, I have it here. Hang on, I just gotta open up my sound player.
Oh man, I'm excited.
Are you?
You know me. I like
You guys,
doing this.
I just walked up here. You guys have no lack of like Italian food surrounding this building. I was like,
Oh my God,
there's like three different places on all sides of the building.
Yeah, there's Cino's here, Pizzuto, and then there's Guido's across the street.
Yeah, Guido's. Which one's the best one?
I've been going to Cino's a lot. I like Guido. They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all good.
I
They're
wonder
all
if there's
kinda
like
different in their own way.
they're battling each other.
I'm at that point right now where I'm trying to like plan lunch after this. I had something in mind, but like I knew what I was gonna get. So there's a place. Do you know what Brennan's on Monmouth Road?
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
so
epic shouts, Brennan's.
Epic shouts. So I went to Monmouth. I went to Monmouth University, and this is going back a long time, but it's been over 10 years since I've been going there. But they had every Thursday they do a buffalo chicken wrap. Well, they used to do it all the time, and now they only do it on Thursdays. And they've only done it on Thursdays for such a long time. And I was like, oh shit, it's Thursday. But then sometimes it's late, so I might have missed the boat on that.
They run out of buffalo
Yeah,
chicken?
because they make like one big tray of it, and once it's gone, it's gone.
I think I'm in.
They,
we could wrap after this and go head over there and try to get some.
They have a couple. They have one. The one I used to go to was in Rumson. I used to work right across the street, you know. And then I got and then
it's all the same people.
I think it's the same people. Yeah, Brennan's.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, there's two. Or at least two. I don't know if they've expanded since then. But so is that what you're gonna do? Or
that's what I was thinking about since yesterday. But like now I'm seeing all this other stuff that's right here.
Yesterday?
I'm a weirdo.
Like, I contacted you, and the first thing you were like, "All right, I gotta plan out my lunch route."
I mean, I got to tell you, like I think about a lot of things. This is why I can't sleep at night because I get so excited about food, and I think about like what my time schedule is going to be, and like what I can do, where I can go, and like there's the theme music. That's kind of cool. So I mean, yeah. So I think about food a lot. It's a problem.
No, I think it's a solution. You plan that stuff out.
So I'll never be a model.
You could be like a lunch model.
I'll be a lunch model. I could be a lunch model. As soon as you could find someone to help me hook me up with that. This is cool.
Like holding sandwiches and eating stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, you can.
What is that?
It's a drum roll. It sounds like squirrels fucking in a trash can.
Where's this coming out of?
Oh, Mike.
Sorry.
Excuse yourself.
Just thinking about that buffalo chicken.
That's what'll happen, man. Sometimes it's a little too spicy.
Trying to figure out why it's coming out of. Where is it? Oh, it's coming out. Why is it coming out of the TV?
There you go. Oh, but we're not going to be able to hear it.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can fix that.
Radio. It's beyond me. Oh, man. Anyway.
Oh, that's why. I might want to do this. Sorry, I had this disconnected the other day.
See, this is all the stuff. This is where
Cool.
I would at like 2 minutes into doing all this, I would have been like, forget it. You know.
We used to use a pretty easy setup.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's just the whole. We were doing Rock the Boat.
Yeah.
And then we were, trying to promote it or whatever.
I don't know about you, but have you been getting those things where it's like on Facebook? It's like share. I get them all the time.
I get a little tear in my eye when I see them. I'm like, oh man! And then I would come up with those flyers every whatever month it was. Some of them I kind of want to reclaim them, use them for something else.
The one, the Key and Peele one from the Gremlins sketch. That was my
That's my favorite.
He's
from
like
Pete.
he's the only Greek guy that sounds like bag of donut, Joey Bag of Donuts kind of thing.
And I talked to him about those nights, and he's really blunt about it. He's just like, you guys, you did good, it was great, but you just weren't pulling the numbers. I'm like, pulling numbers, really?
I mean, I think that there was a couple. Pretty good.
We
I don't
had
know.
epic.
I don't know. I don't know what
nights.
I don't know. I mean, I think we had maybe one or two bad ones, and that kind of just spoiled it for him.
I guess you know what, like, and not to talk smack about anything, but because I appreciated doing it, but it's like they would give us we had it in the winter, the fall, the spring, and then summer would hit, and it'd be like, all right, time to get on and do this, and then they wouldn't give us a shot until September.
That's
again.
okay.
Well, yeah.
Whatever. It was fun.
Oh, it was a lot
We
of
had
fun.
some good ones.
Yeah, there was a I wish we would have taken more pictures and videos to remember the good time. It's been a couple years too now.
As it's been about 2 years probably since the last one we did.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it. I mean, there's other places we can do it. I just,
could.
I liked the yacht situation.
I had a sweet meltdown at shout out to Bond Street Complex in the basement one night when somebody requested Eric Church.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, nobody cares. Nobody cares what I want to play. Leo and Lauren were standing there, and they were just looking. They thought I was gonna like flip a table or something. I started playing. I was like, nobody cares. I started playing Dolly Parton or something. I'm like, see, nobody cares.
I've definitely had some. The last couple times I've done the basement have gone really well, but I've probably done it like 6 or 7 times at this point. I think 3 of them I definitely almost had like some sort of a breakdown or was really rude to people because it's like.
Oh, it's maddening.
It's maddening. It's unfortunate. I think it's like a thing that is along the lines of I don't know. Are we on? Are we rolling right now?
know. That's how I got introduced to Anna, and she had a birthday party. She had a DJ thing that she needed to fill, so I did it, and it was an awesome night. Then she liked it, so she had me play her birthday party. So it was all her friends,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. And
this is at Bond Street as well?
This was at the basement, yeah. The first night I did it, they had the subs hooked up.
Okay.
And it sounded awesome.
Right.
Of course, after that, people complained, like, up in the apartments, because it just travels all the way up.
Right.
And then, so the subs got cut, which, wasn't fun for me because, dance music. And then I did like a Thanksgiving-ish around that time. And it was all these college kids, and they know all of them. Like, they knew the music I was playing, the hipster, indie, dance, house, whatever.
Right.
And they loved it. And then, then it turned into, like, there was more locals there one night, and that's when I got the Eric Church thing. So I guess it really depends on the crowd.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of a thing where, like, no matter what, especially like nowadays, I mean, it's going to turn into a college party at some point in time during the course of the night, whether it's at 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Like, it's going to be a thing. So, I've been doing a thing where, like, when all else fails, I'll just do like a grimy hip hop set and for an hour and a half. Like I think I honestly did like a 40-minute Kanye set the other night, and everyone loved it.
You did.
You know what I mean? It was just like a thing where it's like as much as I try to kind of go off the beaten path, I have to stop being stubborn enough to understand like where I am and what I'm doing. So if I have to play Wild Thoughts, like I got to play it, and like
you're better at that. That's where me and you. Oh, hey now.
All right, let's try that.
All right, we're going, guys. Do it live.
All right, you ready? All right, I'm gonna roll this. Just point at me when you want me to fade it down.
Okay.
And all right, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Hey everybody, guess what time it is? Totally Local. That's right. Totally Local podcast here today. And as always, thank you, Ming. Thank you, A Shared Universe Podcast Studio. And special guest on this wonderful, wonderful cloudy day is Mr. Mike Merrell.
Hi. I think that intro music is kind of cool. I feel like that's the kind of music that robots have sex to, like in their brains, like when they're like just really getting into it, because it's kind of like cool and sexy at the same time on, whatever. I'm just
it gets a little synthy too, so I could totally see that. I'll take that, robot porn music. I love it.
But thanks for having me. This studio is amazing, by the way. I'm just like, I'm kind of captivated by all the stuff in here.
You could get a little distracted by all of the,
like everything behind Ming is like, I'm just like standing there, but I can't see. I love it.
So Mike,
hey,
it's been a while,
buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm lovely, man. I'm lovely.
You're always lovely.
I usually am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I usually am. I would say about 85% of the time. And if I'm not, I usually just hide under blankets.
Yeah, and that's why I like to track you down for stuff like this because you're a busy guy. You're always moving.
Well, we've come a long way since I guess like we would do this kind of similar thing in a booth at the Annex or something with crowd noise and start just talking about nonsense. So it's nice that we're legit now.
Yeah,
this is
totally legit. Thanks to Ming. What's it called? Let's see. You what have you been doing, man?
Well, I mean, as far as music goes, everything's been kind of, as you know, like being in Asbury and being in the industry, as far as like service industry or as far as like in the music industry, like everything kind of is a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Between like December and February, things kind of just like shut down. I mean, there's still shows, there's still stuff going on, but it's like everyone's kind of staying in the house a little bit more, and it's not as active. But things are starting to like be a little bit more vibrant, and things are starting to like pick up and. A lot of big things happening in town. So
yeah, and for those of you viewers and listeners at home that don't know, Mike Merrell is a man about town. He is known all over Asbury Park. He is a fantastic DJ. One of the, in my opinion, you're top 5 DJ in the area.
Well, I've been lucky enough to be able to do this for a long time. I've been kind of in town and like doing stuff in Asbury. I guess in the music scene for I guess maybe almost over 10 years at this point. I think I came into town. I was working at 106.3 when it was a rock station. Shout out to 106.3 when it was G-Rock Radio, and I was an on-air personality there, and I did a show on Sunday nights called The Underground, and I was kind of like, I know I started to get kind of integrated into the scene a little bit, and they started to bring me in. I started doing DJ nights at this thing called Club Deep.
Where's Club Deep?
So Club Deep is
we're going deep.
We're going deep. I know this is kind of like an origin story, but
yeah, that's what we want.
Club Deep is now where Langosta Lounge is. Now it was a couple things, but it was basically like a hollow space where kind of like a DIY thing where bands would play, and there was a couple bars, and it was just basically locals, and there would be like hardcore shows there on Sundays, and there would be like all kinds of local stuff like Billy O'Brien and stuff like and Danny Croak. Shout out to them. They would kind of book the venue, and it was a really like grimy, amazing time to be in Asbury. And they kind of put me on. So ever since then, I've just been lucky enough to kind of like, build some relationships and some circles, and, being able to kind of branch off and start doing the lanes and then doing the pony and then starting doing all the Smith bars, like, the brick walls and the portas of the world. So I've been able to kind of just like maintain it and still kind of try to keep it fresh. And, people still, for some reason, keep coming out to say hi to me and support. So
definitely. I mean, it's something to be said that you are like an OG as far as the area is concerned. You were here before. It's a lot prettier now.
It's a lot prettier, yeah. I mean, there really was when I was doing stuff there at the time. I guess around 2007, there was really nothing there. It was the Pony was there, the Wonder Bar was there. Every once in a while, there'd be shows at Convention Hall. The Lanes was like our place. Like the Lanes was like the place where we'd all be able to kind of be and see music on a consistent basis, and it felt like home. And obviously that is no more at the time. But there's also, there's still the community is still vibrant. It's just a little bit different. Like there used to be stuff going on where there'd be like 3 shows at 3 cool places and whatever, and then you'd be able to still go get a bite to eat somewhere. I mean, this was before Bond Street. This is before Johnny Max. This is before, and now it's like you go to somewhere on the weekends and you try to get a table somewhere, and it's impossible.
Yeah,
so,
and I think that's something too that people need to really recognize and to bridge the gap between the idea of this nostalgia that people are kind of stuck in versus where we are right now with. Do I hear something? It's really just I have like ADD, so it like is. Oh, that was me.
That's you.
I'm like, do I hear that somewhere?
Nice job.
Oh man, I messed it up. I just want to share it, man. I just want to share it to the people. Why isn't there no share button? Oh, whatever. Oh wait, there it is. Share. Sorry guys, I got to do this.
It's okay. Media. Do what you got to do.
So there's the idea of bridging the gap between where we were nostalgia-wise versus where we are now, especially in Asbury Park. It's like people want to talk about Asbury Lanes, and I loved the Lanes. It was like open arms when I first came back to the area, moved back, and didn't know anybody, epic shouts to Ralph for like introducing me to everybody I know in Asbury Park. But going there was great. But at the same time, it's like the place was literally falling apart.
Right.
You know?
So it's a double-edged sword, especially for someone like me, because not only do I DJ, but I also bartend in town, at all the bars at Convention Hall and stuff. And it's kind of tough to be someone, people that have been here for a really long time before all this stuff happened, and now before the town is swarmed with out-of-towners and things like that. It's good for us, it's good for me that I can do, that I can DJ Bond Street, or I can DJ the Asbury Hotel or Anchor's Bend, and there's going to be a built-in crowd of people that are coming down from all over the place.
Yeah.
And like more people means more money. Same thing with the bartending thing. It's like I have if I had to depend on locals all the time, I'd have 3 jobs.
Yeah.
But now that everyone's coming down from all over the place, whether it's towns over like Belmar and Manasquan, or people coming from Staten Island, it's definitely a thing where it's a double-edged sword, where it's good because the community's thriving, but it also sucks because it's like the thing that we loved about it is kind of like slowly kind of going away and being taken away.
Yeah, and I mean at the same time too, people can hide behind this anonymous commenting that they do on Facebook, social media of like, oh, this sucks, it used to be great, blah blah blah, but like there were times when I would be at the lanes and there wouldn't be anybody, like I don't know where those people were that are commenting on how great it was, because they weren't really there supporting it every single time. Not that they could or should, but stop throwing shade at the idea that it's getting built up.
The whole thing can honestly, the whole subject can suck a dick, seriously. Like over her in Asbury and all that shit, suck a dick. It's all stupid. Like it's always cool to talk about the good old days and whatever, but you know what? Yeah, you got to deal with fucking Benny's from out of town, but you know what? We're gonna have a ramen spot and an Indian food restaurant coming in here because they're coming down here and spending money with the owner of your favorite establishment. So
and if you have any quarters, just put them in the store.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Oh shit, I didn't see that. Oh, I did it again. I don't have any change. I'll have to Venmo. Can I Venmo you that jar?
Totally. Not a big deal at all. Yeah, I mean it's there. We're all here. We're dealing with it. We're all in this together, whether we like it or not.
Right.
And as long as you're supporting your cause, your culture, and it's we're all in here to kind of we're all stuck here doing it in this area. And there is still, if you want to go out and you don't want to see out-of-towners, there are bars to go to.
Yeah, of course.
And if you want to go out and get crazy, there are other places to go to,
Yeah, let's not mention those places because,
because it's super secret.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know, you know.
Exactly. So, you got your start in Asbury Park basically through what you were just saying, before it was Langosta Lounge.
Right. So that was the first bar that I started kind of DJing around town and kind of doing certain things. But I also, being in radio and working for that, I got to do things like, I got to introduce Block Party and do cool things at the time around when alternative music was really on the rise there around 2007, 2008. There was just opportunities. There was bands coming into town and things that I was able to kind of latch onto and kind of be able to stay relevant, I guess.
What kind of music would you say you were? Because you love all kinds of stuff. You're a music lover, so you love all kinds. Were there certain, was there a genre? Were you sticking in a lane when you were playing those early gigs?
Yeah. The early stuff. It definitely was like the 2000 to 2005 indie explosion stuff, between
electro clashy,
but then also the super indie stuff, but your Arcade Fire, the Stills, Block Party, the French Kicks, We Are Scientists. I'm just trying to think of there was so many bands that came out at that particular time that had such a cool sound because it was kind of like dance music, but it was guitar driven.
Yeah, it was okay to dance to this.
It was okay to dance. Yeah, the Rapture. Is a great example.
That's when
of
I started DJing, getting into this was before when I was using vinyl,
right?
And I'd be playing places on a stage, and the stage would be bouncing, and the needle would be skipping. I'd be like, this is uncomfortable.
So my thing was always basically trying to mix that stuff with the things I really like with the thing I'd like to DJ the most is hip hop. So I consider myself 60% a hip hop DJ.
Really?
Yeah, I think so because I feel like most of the sets that I do and the things that I do, I feel like it always kind of
comes back to Kanye.
It comes back to that situation where I've definitely done sets where it's more rock based or whatever, and people have loved it, but I feel like I've never gotten a reaction, and I've never had a night where things have kind of gotten out of control and amazing more than I've done a straight 2 hour grimy hip hop set.
Yeah, and that's when I think about when I first was introduced to you, it was actually at Lango. Well, it wasn't Langosta. It was where we were playing. What's it called? Yacht Club.
Oh, Yacht Club, yeah.
And I was there with, again, shout out to Ralph. We were there, and LCD Sound System came on, and I'm like, see, man, I want to be playing stuff like this. And Ralph was like, well, go talk to Mike. He's playing right now. You guys should do a night together. And that's how me and you kind of connected with all that.
Right.
And I feel like, when we were DJing, maybe I leaned on you a little too much because you know how to. There's all different kinds of DJs out there, and you're the kind of DJ that when you're playing, you could kind of hone in and tune into a general consensus of this song is going to make everybody excited in this place right now.
Right. Well, that kind of comes from. It's not only just like doing it for a while, and I would say there was a very dark period in my life when I did a lot of weddings. And that was great. It was for about 3 or 4 years though. I did about 100 weddings.
You have the temperament for it.
Yeah, I mean not much anymore, but I still do them for friends and things. But I definitely feel as though like from doing those kind of events and doing like weddings and birthday parties and special and private events and things like that, like having to make sure that you kind of like look at the crowd and see what you think is going to work and what's not going to work.
And knowing all the new stuff that maybe I don't want to listen to, but what's ultra super popular right now.
Right. So it's gotten to the point right now where I feel like, and this kind of goes along with how things have changed, I feel like a couple years ago it would have been easier to kind of do like an obscure set. I feel like it would have been cool to do like a 2-hour indie clash electro set, and people would just be cool with it and enjoy it. Yeah. But now it's like
they think you're a jukebox.
They think that I'm a jukebox, and it's tough to be able to. I have a no request policy, but if someone asks me to take requests, like I always want to hear them out. Yeah. Because I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, that is the absolute worst thing or worst idea I've ever heard. Why would I play? Why would I play this? Why would I play? Yeah, that's a terror. I can't believe someone asked for Eric Church.
I was like, who, what? They're like, it's country music. I'm like, do you hear? I'm like, house beat in the background. I'm like, why and how?
Yeah, or like if I have like if the crowd's kind of going, someone's like, could you play? How about some Lady in Red? It's just like something that just doesn't make any sense with what I'm playing. It's almost just like a thing where it's like almost like common sense. I'm like, dude, I have like 50 people like going crazy here. Why would I just switch it up to a completely different thing? But I just, I try to do my best to be nice to people.
That's where I failed. I'll just be like, no, it's stupid, man. Go away.
Well, tequila helps.
Yeah. Well, that makes it worse for me because then I'm cursing at you,
Believe
like
I think
Eric Church.
It's definitely. I think maybe it has made it worse for me a couple times.
You're always smiling though, even when you're telling them to go F themselves. You're smiling.
Well, that's the thing. It's like because the thing is, I feel like sometimes it's so loud when they're asking for things, and I could literally be smiling and telling them that they're the worst person on the planet, but they think that I'm just like talking to them about.
I think the idea of one of my favorite books is Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, and it's just the history of DJing. And the idea of a DJ has gone from, taste selectors, music selectors that are bringing you music that is good. You're standing up there playing music and letting people know this is a good song. It went from that to somehow people think that they, could come in and like it's like a jukebox. Right. They think they could just walk up to you. I've told people, I'm like, oh, you love that song? I'm like, how about you go outside, go in your car, turn your car
You probably listened to it on the way here.
Yeah, so listen to something new,
Yeah, it's when people try to give you direction, it's really tough. They're like I've definitely been playing like something a little more like I'm not playing something that's like fist pumper things, and like I have people come to me and like, hey man, why don't you just pump it up a little bit? Why don't you just pump it up? My friends and I want to dance. I'm like, cool man. Well, you know what? Why don't you just it's like go away. Dude, if I'm doing a rock set at Bond Street and you're not happy because you want to go here like Calvin Harris, then go head over to Porta, man. Like that's definitely happening. Like there's enough going around town.
Yeah.
Just because your friends didn't want to go there and you're stuck here and you want to hear the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
That's cool and all. Like I respect your musical taste, but I mean I don't. But I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna make your night happy. Whatever.
Yeah, and I mean it's appreciating appreciating the art. It's like when Foggy Notion, shout out to Foggy Notion, when he DJs, it's great because he's got vinyl. So there's that added respect where people are like mystified by vinyl.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna come up to him and expect him to play it because they're like, he's playing Iko on a 45. You're not gonna have Chainsmokers,
Right. I mean, and he's got that kind of built-in situation, which is cool. But it's and that kind of thing is a little bothersome to me at this point too. Like I feel like there's like this thing especially between DJs.
Yeah.
Like there's like this new as far as I go, like I use very simple equipment. I have never claimed to be like an amazing technical DJ. I don't, I'm not like a beat matching master.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm more of a slam mixer, and I'm just about choosing songs to rock a party.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here and being technical, so I don't go down to the Atlantic City DJ convention and spend $10,000 on like a fancy rig and all this other equipment and all this shit just so I can have this other DJ who does the same thing try to look at me like I'm his peer.
Yeah.
Like I did Bond Street the other night. Man, I have to tell you this story. Like, so I did Bond Street and it was awesome. Like I had a great night.
Bond Street.
I had a great night. It was a live party. Everyone had a great time. I was leaving, and I guess some kid had seen like my rig and my setup because I basically used a controller with a laptop.
Yeah.
I used to use CD players and CDJs where I would lug fucking 3 bags of CDs and stuff, and like leave a gig drenched in sweat because I don't plan stuff out. I usually just go on the fly. So I'm like digging through CD. I did that for years, carrying all that stuff around, like 50 pounds of CDs. Like I don't want to do that anymore.
Amen.
So if I don't have to bring a PA to someplace, I'm bringing my backpack with my stuff, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
But so I'm walking out and. Some kid's like, "Hey man, thanks for bringing the laptop to the party." And this dude was like, I mean, he was, I wanted to be like, well, where are you working this weekend? You know what I mean?
So you go heckle him.
But it was kind of funny because he was with somebody that I knew, and I got distracted and I left, and I guess I didn't realize what he was trying to say to me. So I left, and I honestly, man, I was up all night. Just thinking about scenarios of what I would have said to this kid, and then it's like he did it, man. It's like he said something and he got to me, and it bothered me so much to the point where I was tossing and turning. I thought about 74 different scenarios of things that I would have told his ass that bothered me. But like the thing is, like that shouldn't bother me.
No,
you know what I mean? Like I don't know why it does, but at the same time, like
it's not respectful.
At the same time, who is this guy to try to sit here and get on my case or judge what I'm doing or how I do it?
Yeah, it's not even aside from the technical stuff, having the mind, and if anyone that knows Mike Merrell knows he is thinking about 20 different things at the same time, and that's the kind of mind you need to be able to pick what you're going to make people happy with. And it's not a simple thing, it's not something that's simple. Just because you're using a simplified rack of equipment or a laptop and a controller, like there's still skill in there involved. You don't need to be hitting buttons or scratching for their, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Like if you could do that stuff,
I admire that. Like like I said, I admire it, but I would never I would never judge somebody else. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't like if you're a DJ, we're all trying to make money and try to be good and try to have make a business out of this, or at least like at least have fun doing it. For some people it's just a hobby and it's fun. It's like don't be like seriously. Like I've never been like talking about haters and stuff, but like man, like
the haters,
just they're out there.
Yeah, and I really like the idea too of building a culture and a community, not necessarily based on a genre, but based on the fact that we all love this area.
Right.
And there's a bunch of DJs, and if you're in the community in the area on any level, who those DJs are that you see out, that you appreciate, and you support them just because the struggle is real. That, if there's some yahoos coming in from out of town and don't respect what you're doing, that's not helping this community and not helping this area.
Right. And there's specific people and things I could talk about, but I don't want to. This is not the idea of this, is to come here and talk.
No, we're not talking smack. What we're talking about is sad goth music happening tonight.
You know what? This is fun for me, man, because like I was born in 1980, and like
shout out to 1980.
Shout out to 1980. So like I was an 80s kid, but sounded like a 90s kid at the same time.
Yeah.
But like and I've been listening to like The Cure and Nine Inch Nails since I was like 10, 11 years old, and it's always been something like that whole culture has kind of always attracted me, and I've never actually gone out of my way to do that. I've definitely
did you put on like black like nail polish and sad faces?
I've never done nail polish and stuff. I have an extensive black T-shirt band collection, but I've gone I used to go like Rocky Horror and stuff like that. Like I've definitely like put makeup on and like put like fishnets on. I've gone to Rocky Horror. Yeah. That's like 2 or 3 times, but I've never been like the kind of like go to the mall with a lunchbox and a pack of smokes and stuff. And that was a little actually even before my time, but I've always been into that kind of culture and that kind of music. Like I like sad bastard music, and that's always been a thing. So I always say I'm kind of goth on the inside, like because that's just kind of how I am.
Were you like growing up? Would you just be like, "Leave me alone, Mom. You don't understand."
Oh yeah, I mean, I would do a thing where I would come home and I had a perfectly great life. Like I've never had. I mean, I've gone through some shit like we all have, but I was never like a sad kid. But I definitely would like come home from school and I'd put on like something I can never have by Nine Inch Nails and look out the window and just be like melancholy. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like the music just made me feel that way. So I feel like I've always kind of had that side to me, to a degree. I think I'm kind of like, it's kind of like being a romantic, but like having like this kind of, I guess this jilted version of that.
And it took me until like I was older. Actually, the first time that I ever appreciated The Cure, and nobody get mad at me, but the first time was it was a few years ago. I randomly ended up at Foggy Notion's house. He wasn't there at the time, but I went through his record collection. And I put The Cure on, and I was a little hammered, and I was like, "This stuff is pretty good." There's something about it where it's like he's sad, I'm a little sad, but I could like dance around. You know what I mean?
So that's what that whole goth music thing is. It's like it's a mixture between like it's like punk meets electro, and then just like you got to have that voice. Like there's something about female or male. There's got to be like some sort of like ethereal voice behind it.
How did it come about? Like this? Anyway, Goth Night tonight, Asbury Park Brewery. Shout out to Asbury Park Brewery. How did it come about? Were you guys just sitting around being real sad?
Yeah, I just I've wanted to do it. I did something very similar at Little Buddy. I guess maybe a few months ago.
I've never been invited in there. There's no sign on it. I'm just not. That's why it's good to know people like Mike, because I'm not cool.
So Little Buddies, like it was a special event. I think it was like not Friday the 13th. Maybe it was like Halloween time. But I went to Courtney, who runs the place, and I was like, listen, I want to do like, shout out to Courtney. I wanted to do like kind of like a dark gothy kind of night. So I was able to kind of really do that there. But this is like the first time where we're promoting it as that, where it's going to be. So we're gonna turn the lights out in the brewery, and it's gonna be a lot of like a lot of reds, and it's gonna be like so we're calling it Tears and Beers, which is like something that I'm not good at coming up with names for things, but I feel like this is perfect.
Yeah.
I think actually my friend Emily posted something on a comment.
There's no cover or anything, right?
There's no cover. It's free to get in. It's gonna start around 8:00 tonight. I don't know. I mean, we'll probably go till maybe like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
The brewery doesn't generally stay open late like a bar. But it's gonna we're gonna try to create some atmosphere, and the music's gonna be cool, and there's gonna be great beer, and I think it's just something fun to do. I just like nobody's doing anything like theme driven in town or unique, you know what I mean? Like there's of course, like there's DJs everywhere on any given night. Friday and Saturday is DJs at Porta. There's somebody in the basement on whatever. But like to have something like this during the week, which is something that the locals can kind of enjoy. Yeah. And look, I know that like music wise, like I know that I'm not alone. I know there's at least 50 people in town that that love The Cure and Depeche Mode,
and
they want to drink beer, and that's exactly what. And so it's like I just think it's going to be something that, like I said, it's free. And I just feel like we're gonna give it a shot. Like I said, so Jeff, who's my best friend, also owns the brewery. I was like, he'll kind of be like, hey, like if I say, hey, I want to do this, like he'll kind of give me free reign to just try to make it work. And if it works, then great. If it doesn't, then we kind of just like move on to the next thing.
Do you find that there's a lot of businesses and things going on in this town from when you started that are people that have been here since then? Like this brewery, Asbury Park Brewery, it started in the last couple of years, right?
Right.
So the people that own it are people that...
Oh yeah, that have been in the community for just been just a mainstay of the community, just as I have for the last decade or so.
It's so important to support the DJs and also the businesses, especially if they're making quality brews. Like I was drinking a blonde last night over at Brando's. Shout out to Brando's. And it's such a I'm not even like talking smack, like it's or BSing anybody, but like it's like a classic to me beer that you could just drink and chill.
Absolutely. And that was the whole reason behind that particular beer is because you wanted something that was kind of like there's not there's so many like IPAs and so many
Yeah.
things which they do well as well.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find a beer that's just like unless you want to drink Miller Lite or some
Yeah.
shitty light beer.
Yeah.
That's like something that you can just sit and drink a lot of them,
Uh-huh.
and it's easy to go down, but also has a little bit of a kick to it. Like that blonde has got like, as far as like the APV, it's got like, it's got a little bit of a kick to it, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't know because it goes down so easily.
What's a good beer at Asbury Park Brewery if you're sitting around and listening to goth music and feeling feeling sadness but happy to be out? What's a good beer?
Oh, that's easy.
What's a good goth beer?
The good goth beer is the Asbury Park Roasted Stout because it's as black as your heart. My heart, anyway. But that's, why not? Like, if you're going to a dark night, you must be drinking the dark beer.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, they should. There's a lot of great beers. The Sea Dragon IPA is a really great IPA, and they just started to can that this week, which is exciting.
Nice.
They actually have a special beer now. It's a wheat beer, which is geniusly named Smoked Wheat Every Day.
That's
which
good.
is really nice. But all the stuff is really good. But my favorite beer is the stout, the roasted stout, and I'm not a huge beer drinker, to be honest. So when I do drink beer, those are the kind of beers that I gravitate towards. I like the dark beers.
They do seasonal stuff too. It's not all.
Yep. They have a seasonal. They always have some sort of seasonal beer, whether it's a sour or whether it's an
I love
Oktoberfest.
sour. I jumped on the train for sour beers.
Yeah, I'm a little. Theirs is really great. It's a ginger sour, and there was a kind of a collaboration with 6 Point Brewery up in New York.
Oh, right on.
So I don't think that they have that on right now. I might be wrong, but maybe they do. But that stuff's good. You should definitely try it if you're into it. But I don't love sour beers either.
I like sour beers, and it's like I was making fun of my brother because we would go out and he'd be like, "Do you have any sour beers?" And nobody had any. And now I'm that dork that's like, "Do you have any sour beer?" I don't even want to ask anybody because a lot of times they don't have it. What, like, as far as tonight, if we, I don't know if you want to spoil anything, but like, as far as tonight, what are your top, like, peak sadness when people have on the darkest makeup and their hair is all, Robert Smithed out and they're at their height of drinking beers,
right,
and being sad and sullen together. What's like the peak goth sad song? Man,
I would say there's actually two that came to mind. I would say either Prayers for Rain by The Cure from Disintegration, which is really, or Atmosphere by Joy Division.
So if we hear either of those, is that when you're at your peak goth?
Maybe. There's a lot of peak stuff. What my plan is for the most part is I'm going to kind of stick to like, there's going to be like the mainstay artists there. There's going to be the Joy Division, Depeche Mode, and Smiths and The Cure. But there's also like, I'm also going to go into the shoegaze stuff, the Slow Dives and the My Bloody Valentines of the world. Like that stuff is going to be prevalent there. Also newer, like, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, the Ravenettes, Black Rider. There's like a lot of that stuff. So I'm gonna try. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just mix in the classics with stuff that's still. Interpol is a big one too. There's gonna be a lot of like if you know me and I get the chance to play it, there's gonna be a lot of Interpol tonight.
And it's gonna be it's all goth.
It's gonna be all goth. There's no it's gonna be all like it's gonna be just dark, brooding. Dark and brooding. But I will, obviously, like when we're talking about the Smiths and The Cure and Depeche, there's going to be like upbeat stuff.
There's happy stuff. They're kind of the lyrics are like it'll be an upbeat tune, but they're still talking about like how sad they are that they love you so much.
Yeah, like I'm still going to play like Dead Can Dance and like Love and Rockets. So a lot, there's going to be like stuff, there's going to be upbeat stuff. It's not going to be like all just like constantly just like beating you on the head with like.
I kind of like it too, like the fact that it is a brewery, so they can't be open all night, so that you could go there, chill. Yeah. And then if you want, you could go, elsewhere, go to other places. But I love the atmosphere in there.
Right, and I'm gonna do my best to kind of like we're gonna just make it look cool. And I think it's just something. I think it's something that's worth a try at this point, and hopefully it goes well tonight. And if it does, then we'll do some more.
Just keep on keeping on. Now you're hip. You're hip, Mike.
I try to be.
It's like effortless, but like you know the bands that are local around here.
Yeah.
Are there like what are some of your favorite bands that are either up and coming, established that like you're friends with everybody, so I don't feel worried if you leave anybody out because we'll put it in the comments. Later.
I know. Kind of going along with that. I think like Seaside Caves are my favorite band.
Oh yeah.
In town, they kind of only because like there's nobody else doing what they do, and they kind of like speak to me.
Yeah, it's like a wall of sound.
It's kind of like a wall of sound, and that's the kind of stuff I feel like we need more. We need more distortion, and we need more keyboards, and we need like more atmospheric music, a lot more keyboards. We need like atmospheric music because you know, it kind of comes in waves around here.
Uh-huh.
You know, there was a time where there was like a room for like eclectic bands to play and people would listen, and like now it's kind of gotten back to that whole like kind of like, you know, I'm trying to say this without trying to be like insulting or whatever. It's like, you know, I know that you like Lucero and I know that you like fucking the Misfits and shit like that, and like that's cool. But I'm saying like. And I know like a lot of the bands that are popular on here kind of show those influences on their sleeves, and they're, you know, just it's kind of like straight up rock and roll.
Yeah,
and that's cool and all, but I feel like there needs to be something else.
Yeah, there's definitely this wall of Bruce that like I think surrounds this whole area, and you know, not that I need to, but shout out to Bruce Springsteen. You know, there's this like ominous, like just fevered like feeling of like. This is Bruce's area and it's rock and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it sometimes kind of overshadows the creativity that Bruce kind of tapped into when he was young. When he started, he was being innovative.
Right.
And he was doing things that were interesting. And I think that doesn't necessarily mean that any of these bands are bad, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to be so like, you know,
right.
rock. In that,
like rock forward, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of great, you know, like not to discount anything. I mean,
No.
like I said, Seaside Caves, you know, Dentist, Lions, Gods, Parlor Mob is back. Like there's like, you know, there's a lot of really great bands around town. They put on a great show.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks because I hate this because I sometimes I draw a blank and I don't want to leave anybody out or anybody to be offended. There's a lot of great bands in town.
Yeah.
Deal Casino is another one who I think, by the way, because Deal Casino is a band that I think has grown so much in the last couple years, and now they're like a force. You got it. I mean, you have to see them live now.
I haven't seen them in a while. I don't think
they're absolutely crushing it. You know, late waves. We need bands like Stained Glass and you know Reese to come back because we need some noise.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's as much noise right now.
I think what we need to do is I think me and you need to sit down and make there's got to be like a compilation put together.
Oh, well, I mean, we've done that actually. Like you know, especially you know, Ralph. Like there was a compilation, bands on a budget when they were located on the Madison. When they were in the Madison office, they were doing stuff like that. A lot of compilations.
Yeah, it's a while ago.
Front Bottoms, by the way. Front Bottoms is another band that
they're awesome.
They're awesome and great people.
Gay Guy, Straight Guy. I love that.
Oh,
band.
Gay Guy, yeah. That's what I mean. That's why like and these are my friends. Like you know, so I don't want to leave anybody out. That's why I hate listing that band. But there's a lot of great bands in town.
You gotta
really
list
is.
them though. Even the people that you're leaving out, if there are any, we still love you too. But there's a lot of people out there that don't know that these bands are out there or haven't heard of them, and I think that's important that gets pushed out, you know, more and more. You know, bands on a budget. Shout out again. You know, Coworks is like awesome spot, and they've done a lot in this area. But that was a while ago that happened. We need another compilation or some kind of Spotify list or somewhere to like.
Well, we can do a Spotify list.
You know, something. But if they're not on there, we'll figure it out. But I think I'm assigning you that job to make a list of, you know,
that's
local
good,
bands.
because I have nothing to do, so that's good. Like I said, I think that we need some more, and it sucks because I can't contribute because I have no musical prowess whatsoever to change this. But
you
like,
got taste, bro.
well, I mean, yeah, but I feel like we need, like I said, like we need more distortion. We need more sad music in this town. Seriously, there's no sad music in this town.
There's got to be more too, because it's so overcast and cold today. Like, come on, guys, get sad, get real sad, and make some music. And then when you put distortion on it, put distortion on top of that distortion with a little reverb, and let's get real sad about it.
Feeling sad's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's good for the soul. Like you know,
definitely.
if you're happy all the time, then there's a problem.
There's a problem.
You know, and that's what we're trying to do. So come to the brewery tonight.
Get real sad.
That's what I mean. Let's be sad together. Let's be sad for a minute, and then we'll bring ourselves back up.
We'll have like a cheers, like a toast, you know, to being sad. And we won't smile, but we'll smile on the inside. But it'll be coming with a tear.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean every other city in the country has a pocket of bands that are sad bands.
Yeah.
We don't have any.
What so basically, you know, in this area, as you know, and people might not know, you know, it comes in waves where, you know, you're involved in the area, and you know that after Labor Day, it kind of just, you know, after local summer, it kind of just falls off, you know, as far as crowds and all that stuff.
Right.
Do you feel that there's some kind of way of compensating for that? Do you feel like places like the Asbury Park Brewery, that like kind of adds to creating more of a local flavor, so people aren't relying on the beach.
Well, I mean, no, it does, and then that's kind of what's happening over the last like 4 or 5 months. The brewery has actually turned into like a great venue, and there's shows there 3-4 nights a week now with like really great bands. So like now there's once again, finally, there's like another venue in town to go and see live music on a consistent basis and good stuff, and not recycling the same. It's not recycling the same 8 or 9 bands, and on top of that, it's also not going to see fucking some cover band, some guy doing Joe Walsh covers at a bar where there's wood everywhere.
Yeah,
it just there's definitely a thing where in local. I guess it's like this is local winter. I guess at this point in time,
local winter.
It's a good thing because everyone's going out. And they're going to the Saint, and they're going to the brewery, and they're going to Yacht Club, and they're still seeing bands. I mean, it hasn't really come to a standstill as far as that goes. And I guess we all kind of like that. Who like the people like that live in town. I guess we like the option to be able to do that and not be like crushed like sardines to go see a band play.
Do you find that as far as the development, more people coming into town, even in that local winter, do you find that like even in these times that there's more and more people going out because there's just not only is it Monmouth University coming into Asbury Park more over the past however many years, but people moving into this area.
Well, yeah, I mean it's in the surrounding towns. People finally like it's over the last like 2 years. It's like they've finally discovered that there's cool shit going on. That's 10 miles from them. So now, so especially like on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday days, like people are taking Ubers into town and starting to frequent places. So
Uber, shout out to Uber.
Shout out to Uber.
So it's helped me out so much.
So a show at the like any kind of show going on a couple years ago where it would just be like 10 or 15 of us, or I mean that's aiming low. Yeah, I mean it's now that people understand that this is the place. We are the musical hub of New Jersey.
It's true.
So if anyone gives a damn about having a good time, then they're gonna come here, and this is it. This is the city that we live in now, and this is something we're just gonna have to get used to as much as we don't like it.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that is just like it just reeks of nostalgia in the sense of like it was great, but was it really like it was fun to hang out with your friends and go see stuff and get have crazy times and. What other some of the lanes? What were you saying?
No, I know. I'm the only thing that I'm concerned about. I like that everyone's coming here and spending money and having a good time. I just want to make sure that when I go to the annex to go get a drink at my bar, I want to make sure that there's going to be a seat for me there. And if there's not, then I'm going to start getting mad.
And people start, you got to be respectful too of a town. Like some people go out and they have complete disregard for just. They're throwing up on Cookman or God knows what else, and like
no, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's sometimes people got to be a little aware that to have nice things you gotta. I sound like such an old man now, but you gotta respect those nice things. You know. Do you think it'll ever be possible? Because when we got together and we were DJing, you're way more robust than how I've kind of picked a lane. I want to play dance music and house music, and this is a selfish kind of question, but like, do you ever think there'll be a point where there'll be a venue or a space where it's accepted, there'll be dance music in a place that's cool, and it won't be garbage music that EDM crap?
I don't think so.
Really?
Only because I feel like the people that appreciate that kind of stuff are getting older like us, and I feel like the kids that are coming in now, the kids between like 22 and 30 right now. Music isn't it's not the same as it used to be, and it's just like the music that's pushed in our face all the time, and that's on the radio, and that's like that's popular. Like you watch the Grammys now, like that's what the fuck is that? It's a total disaster, and like there are some really great artists making music now, but I feel like the musical landscape is so different, and it's so immediate, and it's just so it's kind of lost that flavor that like the things that we think are good, nobody really thinks that are good anymore. No one it's
that's sad.
It's tough.
I need to hear some goth music now. 'Cause I'm feeling.
So no, I really don't think that there's always going to be clubs that are going to play dance music, but I feel like it's with the age groups that those kind of places attract right now are it's just not that kind of music anymore.
Yeah, I just want a dark basement somewhere where the sound isn't escaping out into anyone's apartment, where I could play really loud music and it'll be dance music and everyone would be sweaty and drinking cheap beer.
Yeah, I mean it sounds good, but on the Jersey Shore, that's not going to happen. And we could do it in Bushwick somewhere, or we could do it in LA.
I don't want to travel. I'm too lazy. I don't want to go that far.
But I mean, there's cool cities all around the country, and I'm sure we could probably pull something off like that. Or there are. I'm sure in like Chicago, there's just 20 places that do what we want.
Do you think that there is any possibility of like some dystopian future where rich people from New York take over Asbury Park and there's zero fun left? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah.
You do?
That there's no fun left. I mean,
Yeah,
it
that
depends
there's
on-
just all like swanky, like people dressing all fancy, and they go out and they listen to bad music, and all of the people like us are kind of like huddled in some disgusting alley somewhere, like sharing a cigarette that we found on the ground that some rich hoity-toity person.
like the way that you're talking about it is very like it's very apocalypto.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really sure if it's ever going to get to that extreme, but those are the realities that we have now.
Uh-huh.
Like that stuff is happening as we speak. Like the swanky New York people are like they're here, and this is just like the most important thing is that they come here, and we try to keep them in check and make sure they're respectful, and we take their money and take everything they have.
What do you think is a important way to make sure that the arts, music, culture that is ingrained in this area, the salty vibes that we have on the shore, what do you think are some things that people need to keep in mind or keep themselves a part of to make sure that is
Well, I think we just
thriving?
need people that are kind of still in the community and making things like this happen, and people like Jen Hampton, and even like
Shout out
to Jen, and like people that are just like committed to like keeping this place, giving it some sort of keeping the same sort of identity that we've always had and not letting that go. So everyone that's just like still making art and making music, and Jen Hampton, Scott Stamper, Peter Mantis, like these are guys that like still have kind of control over everything, and they're keeping it cool. So many people, Jeff Plate, all the promoters, the Mike Lawrences and the Joe Politos of the world, like people who are just doing what they can to make sure that there's still cool music in Asbury. As long as that's happening, we will not get taken over by the swanky nightclubs. Like as long as like there's a place, and as long as there's people still putting on music and giving them a place to go see it, we're gonna be fine.
All right, that's good. And just to reiterate, we're all gonna be fine. And if you're feeling pretty good, but you're feeling this overcast day, I want you all to come out to Asbury Park Brewery tonight for some beers and some tears.
And tears and beers. Yeah.
Is it beers and tears?
No, it's tears and beers.
Tears and some beers with Mike Merrell playing some goth music. We're going to be smiling on the inside and a little sad on the outside, and a little sad on the inside too.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's
so
thank
you so much, Mike. It's always a pleasure. We've seen some times together. We've been involved in some instances that we can't talk about on this podcast. And I'll just leave it at that. And I'll say thank you so much for coming in here. I appreciate everything that you do. I love what you do. I love the passion you have for music. I love listening to whatever you have to play, even though I'm like, what the hell is this? I love it every single time. Thank you, A Shared Universe Podcast Studio, for doing this. Thank you so much, Ming. I want to see everyone out tonight. And I'll tell you what, you could all buy me a beer tonight when you see me. So thanks again. This has been Totally Local Podcast.